So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be building out your customer avatar, and your customer avatar is essentially your target. You can't hit what you can't see, and you can't see what you don't know. And if you don't know the direction, or if you don't know the distance, the point, the frame of reference that you're looking for, you can't ever hit your target. And so we have to come up with not only the target, but also how we're going to approach reaching and hitting that target. And so that's what we're going to be doing today, because that's the most important part. A lot of times, whenever I hear about different businesses in my consulting that need help or that are experiencing struggles of any kind, it really boils down to some very basic and key principles that are usually supposed to be established from the very start, from the very beginning. But oftentimes, when they aren't established or started from the very beginning, then those end up being where the gaps are. So when they say, "Oh, well, I have a viable business, or I have this business that was working and then it stopped working," and there's always a reason why the business stopped working or why the leads stopped flowing. And there are so many different ways that we can approach it, but we're going to start off with this portion, because this portion does end up being one of the most critical pieces, because we're going to be building from the foundation that we set of understanding who your avatar is. If you are new to me, my teaching style, I am a very open teacher. I'm a very, as far as I desire to communicate in a very clear way, but I also have a background teaching kids as well. So if you know anything about teaching elementary age kids, is that there are always things that go on during a lesson that was not expected. So with that being said, it does not throw me off and it does not bother me if you have a question in the middle of something that I'm saying, because if I'm going to address it and answer it, I will answer your question in that regard. I will say, hey, I'm going to talk about that here in the next 2 to 3 minutes, that piece that you're asking about. So it will be answered. Or if there's something that is kind of like maybe like a rabbit trail, what I'll do is I'll put a pin on that, and then I'll say, hey, we're going to make sure we address that today, but let's continue walking down this trail. And then after we finish that part, and then we can come back to make sure we loop off to talk about that other piece that was brought up. Again, as you guys have these things that you're thinking about, or that may come up for you, or that may pop up for you, please feel free to always bring these things up to me in the moment when you have these thoughts, because those thoughts not only help us to answer your question, but the question that you have likely is a question that somebody else has as well. And so we're able to make sure that everybody has a thorough understanding of what's being said, so that we can continue to progress forward. So if everybody is in agreements with that, can we get some yeses to that, as far as you guys like agreeing to cut me off if you guys have any questions? Okay, cool. I got some thumbs up, some claps. Okay, got it. Okay, cool. Okay, so some Zoom regulars. Okay, cool. Because I was expecting for somebody to come off of mute and y'all actually say something. And so I actually try and watch the chat as well. To see if you guys ask questions over in the chat as well. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, what we have today is one of the things that a good friend of mine brought up earlier when talking about what we are going to be speaking about first, which is your customer avatar, your ideal customer profile. One of the main pieces, as far as that's what we're going to be talking about today. But one of the pieces that is even more important than that, because it's kind of like a precursor to that, is like what it is that you are actually going to do, like what actually makes a business a viable business. And if you guys are in the group at this point, you are probably in this group at this point because you've heard me say something about the Dorian principle, or you kind of know of me in some way on social media. And so essentially, everybody that should be in the group at this point, you should have either a business idea of something, or maybe you don't have an idea yet, but you do desire to have a business, or you already have a business, but you want to either see if it's viable, you want to see if it's something that actually could be sustainable, or you want advice about it and you want some help, some assistance in kind of creating some things around it. Or maybe you have a business that is making money and that is profitable, but you're stuck, like you plateaued. There are no more orders in, there are no new customers being activated, there are no new things that are taking place with the company. And so with that, you feel like you're stuck. There are no new leads that are flowing in. And so with that, I want to be able to help you guys. And the reason, and if you guys did hear about me from that, that's likely why it is that you're here at this point. It's because of the fact that I do want to help Christian business owners understand what makes a business a viable business, and why I take the perspective that I take on intentionally selling only to Christians, like why that is a thing that is something that not only that I'm against, but I'm against it because of the word of God being against it. Like every single thing as it pertains to the gospel is supposed to be free according to the scriptures. And so if that's the case, there is nothing that pertains to the gospel that is ever supposed to be for sale. Um, Now, if something needs to be made, there may be production costs. So, hey, you're paying for this thing to be made or this thing to be produced, and that's it. So there's no profit on top of it. But whenever we start to say, hey, a person owes something for a gospel presentation or for something related to the gospel, that's when we're dipping into a different type of a realm. And once you get into that realm, the waters get real murky. And I want to keep you guys from like stepping into those waters, because like I said, those waters are very murky. Those waters are deep waters. And so with that being said, I always, whenever I see an issue or I see a problem, I always want to be proactive about a solution, proactive about, okay, if not this, then what? So if this is not good, okay, Matt, I agree with you that the Bible does say these things, or the Bible does clearly point out these things. Okay, then what? So then what do I do? Because maybe I have this business where I sell whatever to Christians, or I like whatever. Okay, what can I then do? And so I like to talk about that, which is again why I say you guys always feel free to cut me off at any time. Like if something is hitting home for you and you want some more some crystallized answers, some more specific answers, we can definitely do that as well. But what we when we're talking about a viable business, one of the things that I want you guys to understand is that a viable business is simply something that somebody wants to buy. Like, what is a viable business? A viable business is something that can sell because somebody wants to buy it. So anytime you have somebody that is willing to buy something, you have a viable business. Now, going back to what I said as the precursor to this, which is what I don't want you guys to do, is as far as to be people who sell, if you will, the gospel in some way, shape, or form to Christians. I don't want you guys to do that. So, hey, Christians are willing to buy stuff all the time. Christians are willing to buy Christian retreats. Christians are willing to buy Christian books. Christians are willing to buy Christian novels. Christians are willing to buy Christian entertainment. Christians are willing to buy special seats at church. Christians are willing to buy special seats at Christian conferences. Christians are willing to buy all of these things. And so if that's the case, say, hey, Matt saying, hey, I don't want you guys getting involved in that. I want you guys to actually come up with things that are viable businesses, as far as that shouldn't violate your conscience as you read. Because most in conversations that I have around this, most of the times what people will end up saying in conversations is that, hey, I've never read that in the Bible, or I've never seen that in the Bible. And so that usually is kind of where things kind of start off when we're talking about, okay, then what do I do instead? And so if that's the case for anybody that's here, please always feel free to say that, and then we can definitely clarify whatever needs to be clarified from that standpoint or from that perspective. But when we're talking about a viable business, it needs to be something that can be sold because of the fact that someone wants to buy it. So when we're talking about what it is that we can sell, you can sell services, you can sell products, you can sell information products, you can sell depending on where your area of expertise is. There are so many different things that can be sold. There are so many things that can be sold. And remember, when we're talking about what we're doing here, we're always talking about ways to do things ethically. And so when I'm talking about ethics, I'm talking about a Christian ethic. I'm not talking about, because the world's ethic is so low, the moral code is so low, moral values are so low. I'm talking about the Christian ethic. So when I'm talking about ethical money that can be made online, I'm talking about your dignity intact. your name being upheld in a very strong way because you're not scamming anybody or you're not selling products that you wouldn't stand by, because there are a lot of emphasis right now on doing what are called like faceless products or faceless things. And a reason oftentimes why people want to do the faceless things is because like, hey, like it's easier to do and there's no risk to my reputation. There's no risk to my my social standing or my social profile, if you will, if I do this faceless thing because nobody can ever identify me. But the reality of that is a lot of times whenever you get into faceless things, what could be the case is not always the case, because I know of some ways, and we can talk about some ways where you can do faceless, where it's actually a good thing and it's actually beneficial and you can do it in an ethical way. But most of the time, what these individuals are talking about when it comes to faceless, the reason why they're doing it faceless is because of the fact that they're actually stealing intellectual properties from elsewhere. And then they're taking those intellectual properties that they're taking from elsewhere and they're presenting them as their own. And there's no consequence to them for that because of the fact that it's faceless and there's not a person that is represented. There's not a person who is stealing these intellectual properties and seeking to make them their own. And so when you have that, that's what it is that you end up having as far as kind of things that could make you some money online, but would your moral standing or would your moral code be intact? You have so many avenues that you can go. If you're somebody who's brand new to this, there are so many avenues, so many roads that you can go. There are things that you can buy that you can just simply resell, which is absolutely ethical. And you can attach your name to it or not attach your name to it, or attach your brand to it or not attach your brand to it. It doesn't matter. So when we're thinking about a viable business, you're thinking about what is something that someone would be willing to pay money for. Because when we're talking about business, remember, we have charity and we have charitable, and then we have business. Sometimes they mix, and sometimes one, as far as the business side can feed the charitable side. That's usually how I do things. Is I take what it is that I'm doing on from the business side, and it feeds my charitable doings or my charitable efforts, or other people's charitable efforts. So when I'm supporting missionaries, I'm doing that because of business. So if I didn't have business and I didn't have money, I didn't have resources, I couldn't support ministry. I couldn't support those who are going out to do the work of the Lord. So a lot of times you'll see individuals that have both. So it's like that this is what I do on the business side, but this is what I do on, if you will, the ministry side. And with that being said, it is really important for us to understand and get our hands around and to grasp the idea of what is viable. So viable simply means, and for you, as far as kind of to think through, okay, what are the business ideas? Like think through, what do you like? Like, what are some things that you really just enjoy? That could seem like a, if you will, like a hobby for you, or something that you just do for fun, or something that it just brings you joy when you think about it, or when you do it, or when you get a chance to participate in it. It could be different things that you watch, or different things, maybe it's different types of book series that you enjoy, or whatever the case may be. But think about those things that are hobbies. When you're thinking about a viable business, think about what you like, what you enjoy, what you enjoy participating in, because it's in your enjoyment that this becomes viable. So we can talk about how the business part, but the way that it becomes viable is if you're able to consistently do it. It's not viable if you can't consistently do it. Or if you're so burnt out from your 9 to 5 to where this now takes even more out of you because you don't even like it. When people try to bring up all of these different things, because I get the same ads sometimes probably that you guys get, as far as people talking about all the different business opportunities that exist. And the reality is, if you don't like it, you won't do it. If you don't like it, you won't do it, because if you have a 9 to 5 that you already do, and then now you're saying, I'm going to start a business and I want it to be sustainable, but I don't like that either. So I don't like my job and I don't like this business that I'm trying to start. But I want to start this business to get me out of this job. But I'm getting out of a job that I don't like in order to start a business that I don't like. Are you guys seeing the disconnect in logic? It doesn't make any sense to start a business that you don't like when you already have a job that you don't like. Or some people maybe on a call, like maybe you like your job, maybe you enjoy your job, maybe your job is fun to you, you really enjoy your job, but you're just looking for other means and methods of income. Maybe there's debt that you want to get rid of. Maybe there's a particular level of freedom that you want to be able to live at. Maybe there's a particular way of donating that you want to begin to do, but you can't do it with the income that you already have. And so now you want to create more income so that you can actually be able to give more and be more charitable and be able to literally give to people and not be looking for or expecting anything back from anybody in return. All of those things that are possible and end up happening because of the viability of what it is that you're considering. So you can think about what it is that you enjoy for a hobby, or you can think about what it is that you're good at. So sometimes, literally, what some people do is they have a 9 to 5. So say, for example, if you're a coder, so from your 9 to 5, you code. That's what you do. And then at 9 o'clock, you clock in. At 5 o'clock, you get to clock out. So that means all the rest of that time is yours. So now somebody could say, hey, you know what? I know how to code. And I do know that there are people online who want to learn how to code. I have a business idea. My business idea is I'm going to teach people how to code. Is that a viable business idea? Well, yeah, that's a viable business idea because there are a lot of people that want to learn how to code. Now, add another layer to that. You could say, oh, I'm going to teach adults how to code. And you're going to say, hey, I can actually teach as well. I can teach kids how to code as well. I can teach high schoolers how to code. I can teach I can teach it at different levels. So now you have multiple businesses that you came up with because of work. Maybe you do data entry for your job and it's seen as one of those boring things. You do data entry. So now you do data entry for your job. And now there are people who actually want to either learn data entry or they need assistance and help with data entry. So now you can charge them based off of documents that you edit. You can charge them based off of lines that you edit. You can charge, like you can make money doing the same thing. So you don't have to learn a new skill set. So now what I'm talking about are ways for you to make money where you don't have to even go and learn a new skill set. You literally keep doing what you're already doing, except you're now getting paid. When you're off the clock, you're getting paid for those same things that you already were doing. So now you not only did this already, but now you take the same knowledge, you take the same things that you learned here, and you just bring them over here. And now you're making money from that same thing over here as well. When we do this inside the stock market with the class that I teach, we call it double dipping. And there are ways in which you can do this as far as with dividend trading or investing. So now you're getting paid multiple times for the same work. You did the work already. You learned the skill already. And now it just pays you multiple times. It pays you. When the goal is freedom, the goal of what you're getting should be your time. You should be getting your time back. With every year you get older, you should be getting years back. Because what you don't want is to be turning 50, then 60, then 70. And if the Lord continues to will, you get 80 and 90, but you're still having to go and work for dollars. You need passive dollars coming into you. So when I talked about on that post, when I was talking about the wealth of the wicked being stored up for the righteous, there's money that literally exists for people to come and take. It literally exists out there for people to just take. And all you need to do is have the information to go and take it. And it's not like you taking it as in like you seizing something that doesn't belong to you. It belongs to you because you have a skill set that somebody is willing to exchange money for. All you have to do is come up with the business idea. And that's what we're getting into. We're getting into you guys being creative, coming up with business ideas, thinking about what it is that you want to do so that you can produce income and you can produce wealth from what it is that you're doing and what it is that you have. That makes sense? And so what you have is you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity. So with your business ideas, you have an opportunity. Okay. And so we have up in the chat, needing to enjoy what you're doing. Exactly. So yes, being enjoyable for you is one of the priorities for you. This, whatever business it is that you're looking to start, you need to enjoy it. You need to enjoy it. Because remember, if what our goal is, if what it is that we're desiring is to have a life of freedom. Because again, if we're going to live the way that Christ has called for us to live, if we're going to give freely how Christ has called for us to give, we have to be free ourselves. We can't be burdened by the cares and the concerns and the worries of this life, because if we are, we can't be the blessing that he's called for us to be to others that we come in contact with. If you hate what you're doing, how can you show someone else the joy of the Lord when you hate what you're doing? If you dislike what you're doing, there's no enjoyment in what you're doing. You're just doing it because it pays you $1. That's not a viable business opportunity. You can't look at it from that perspective. You have to look at it from the perspective of, what do I love? What do I get enjoyment out of? What do I like doing? Because when you look at it from that perspective, when you look at it from that framework, now you're able to come up with viable ideas for yourself. So what I want you guys to do right now, because everybody should have a notepad. So again, as we go through this each week, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to have a notepad, and I want you guys to be jotting down things that you enjoy. It could be traveling. It could be reading. It could be videography. It could be video editing. It could be coding. It could be anything. What do you like doing? Who are you and what do you like? Because this is going to be super important and super critical before looking at who it is that you're going to be targeting. Because if you don't know who it is that you are, as in what it is that you like, you can't target anybody with any level of specificity. Because you don't know what you like. So you have to know first what you like, so that you can then target people who are similar to yourself. Because it's going to be, once we get into this, it's going to be very easy for you to speak to people that are like yourself. People that are like you, it's going to be easy to talk to them because they are like you. That's why we call this your ideal customer, your ideal client, your ideal avatar, your ideal customer profile. It's ideal. And I'm going to tell you guys this, and this may offend some people, but this is the truth. You should be who you're trying to reach. If you aren't who you need to be, but you're trying to reach people, you're going to reach who you are. You're going to reach who you are. The people that you're going to come in contact with are going to be the people that you are. They're going to be similar to you. They're going to be just like you. They're going to have the same likes, dislikes. They're going to have the same level of idiosyncrasies to them that you have, because you're drawing them. We naturally draw people that are like us. Now, time changes some things, but we draw people that are like us. So you need to be the person that you're trying to draw. Don't create, if you will, someone for yourself, or don't create something for yourself and are an ideal or an idea of yourself that you aren't, because that's going to make this feel like work. We want this to not feel like work, because we're just naturally being who we are. We're naturally enjoying what we enjoy. And the people that we're drawing as a result of that, it comes. That keeps you from ever having to put on the mask. So what makes it hard for people to produce content? Because once we get into the content portion, what makes it hard for people to produce content is because they have to put on a mask in order to produce the content. But if you're being honest, if you're being genuine, the content produces itself. All you have to do is record live. If you have a new offer that you're creating, you just record and say, hey, I got this new offer, and you just offer the new offer, and people that enjoy or like the new offer, they'll respond to the new offer. If they don't like the new offer, they won't respond to the new offer. There is no acting involved. But what a lot of these, because again, I've done masterminds, I've done all of these things. What they will teach and what they'll tell you is that you need to pretend, or that you need to become like this other person that's different than yourself. And you don't. You just need to be you. Again, what I'm teaching you guys is what's going to work. Now, some of the things that they say will work, but you're going to get tired and burnt out, which is why a lot of them end up coming back years later saying, oh yeah, I stopped that business because of this, and I stopped this because of that, and I stopped. The reason why is because they knew they were acting. They knew that they were acting. And so again, when it comes to building a business, find what you like. Find what you enjoy. What are your hobbies? What are the people that are naturally drawn to you in your real life? one of the new hobbies that I picked up, and I was actually thinking about creating an offer because I mean it's really, really picked up. But it's pickleball. Like, and it's I just randomly started playing with some people from church, and it kind of turned into a thing where it's like, okay, we getting competitive out here in pickleball. And so, and who? Oh my. Oh, in gaming. Okay, in gaming. So my daughter just ran and said in gaming. Because now, so that's another thing. So she wants to actually, every single thing that I do, I teach it. Like I freely give it, like because of the opportunity that it provides. So with her, with gaming, she loves to play Switch. She loves to play her Switch. So now with her Switch, she's like, but dad, like they have all these other things. And so now she wants to kind of get involved in that world. I'm like, okay, yeah, there's definitely opportunity for you to get involved in that world as far as with my monitoring it and making sure that everything is kind of like legit and that they have like certain parameters and stuff set up. And so, yes, there are options. When I say that you can make a business out of any and everything, you can make a business out of any and everything. Like one of the games that she really likes now that we play is Princess Peach Showtime. There can be a business on teaching people how to play Princess Peach Showtime. Like it's a game that came out maybe I think like 2 months ago now. Like, and some people still don't know how to play it yet. So you can teach people how to play the game, and that's a business. Princess Peach Showtime, if you go look it up on Amazon, I think the last time I checked, there was like 1,500 to 2,000 copies each month that are sold. So when you're thinking about a viable business, all you got to think is, would somebody want to buy this? And if you don't know if somebody would want to buy it, ask yourself, would you buy from you? Ask yourself that question. Would I buy from me? Because if you wouldn't buy from you, what makes you think that somebody else would want to buy from you? You got to be who you want to attract. And you only want to attract people that are naturally attracted to you. You don't want to go on this spree, this crusade, these if you will, tours of trying to draw people to yourself. You don't want to do that. And I'm telling you guys, there are ways to do this. There are ways to go viral. You don't want to do that because the people that you attract don't really even care about you. You're attracting the wrong people. When it comes to creating a viable business, allow the people that are naturally attracted to you to come because that's what's going to make your business sustainable. Because they're going to stay all throughout the iterations, the changes, all of those things. Those people will still be there. And it's because of 3 factors. And you guys can write these factors down. Know, like, and trust. It takes time to build those factors. When you try to build those things too quickly, it doesn't stick. Those things don't hold. You can't build those things quickly. People can't know you quickly. Would you be willing to tell secrets to somebody that you just met yesterday? Of course, everybody will say no, because who would be willing to tell secrets to somebody that they just met yesterday? It wouldn't make any sense because you don't know them. Would you be willing to have a very deep level of conversation with someone that you don't know? Well, yeah, sometimes, depending on the context of the conversation. What is the conversation about? Like, if people don't like you, and if people don't see, if you will, themselves in you or see versions of other family members that they do like in you, they won't like you because they just don't like you. And guess what? That's okay. Because when I tell you, when people go on these, if you will, these sprees of trying to get people to like them, and again, that's what social media has been created to do, is people will go on these sprees in order to get people to like them, but now they have people liking them that, as far as liking them and liking their stuff, that don't actually like them. So now you got likes that don't actually equate to anything when we're talking about a business because of the fact that they don't really like you for real, because they don't really know you for real. So they got to know you. They actually have to like you, and they also have to be able to trust you. Can people trust you? When you give information, is the information that you give solid, or is the information that you give tainted? Is the information that you give true, or is the information that you give false? Do you only give part truths, or do you give the whole truth? If we can't knock these 3 out the park, there is no building of an audience to have a sustainable business. Because remember, when we're talking about a sustainable business, we're talking about a business that continues to build on itself. So the business was created. And then the business continues to build on itself because we like it. So we continue to post more and more things that are getting people to get us that fall into these 3 different categories: the know, like, and the trust, in genuine ways, not in fake and contrived ways, because I can talk to you guys about that as well in the future. But in genuine ways, are you helping people to know you? Are you helping people to like you? Are you helping people to trust you? Okay. And it's so crazy because I'm holding my fingers like this now. I was a Boy Scout, so I'm actually an Eagle Scout as well. And as I'm holding my fingers like this, I'm like, why does this feel so familiar? I'm like, why did it go from this to this? And so do people actually understand who you are for real? Because if they don't, they won't be willing to be along for the ride. You want people to stay long enough to actually be a part. So say, for example, if you started a perfume brand or a cologne brand, you want people to stay long enough to say, hey, I really like it. I'm really willing to try this smell out. I get the smell in the mail. Now I have the smell. I spray the smell on. I really like the smell. Hold on. I actually want a subscription box, and we can talk about all the ways in which you can monetize it. So now you can have what are called subscription boxes. So now your subscription box comes with more than just the cologne or more than just the perfume. So now when the person gets something from you, they can not only get it on a timed basis, but they can get something inside of their box that is way more valuable than just the cologne and just the perfume, because now you can put stuff inside of that box and you can customize that box to where now they're looking at the box and they're like, hold on, I want to keep this box. This box is actually really nice. Oh, and you actually have like a mug or a container here for me. You actually have this other branded piece of item, or you have maybe a pen in here for me, or you maybe have like a t-shirt from your brand. You have all these things inside of this container. Now this I can sell for $200 every 2 months, or $300 for every 2 months, because it's not just one product that a person bought from me, which was the cologne or the perfume. It's an experience. Hopefully this is making sense to you guys. Like, the way that you set yourself apart, the way that you make yourself different, is by coming up with an experience. People experience you. It's not just a one-time thing, or it's just, oh, I have this product that I sell. Hey, do you want 1 other products, 2 other products, or 3 other products? Like that's outdated. That used to work. That's outdated. Now that can still work if your brand is like a supplement brand or like a juicing brand or something like that. That can still work. But what people are expecting now, what people want now, they want experiences. They want to experience you. They want to experience what it feels like, and what, like, your brand needs to have an experience that sets you apart. I was just talking about earlier this morning, Nike fell over 20% because there are other shoe companies that are willing to do what Nike ain't. Nike's still giving the same experiences. Yes, some of their boxes are getting better, but other shoe companies are up in the ante. Why? Because they had to compete with Nike. So therefore, they had to have not only a superior product in order to be able to compete, but they had to actually give customers an experience when they buy the product in order to compete with Nike. And now guess what? Nike's falling off. Why? Well, it's because of the fact that there's so much competition. There's so much competition. Okay. And it's going to be the same thing for your business. If you choose a business that is truly viable and a business that can truly be a business, become a business. If you choose something that can truly become a business, you're going to have competition. And you need to have a unique selling point that says, this is why you should buy from me instead of from my competition. If you don't have anything that's unique about yourself that puts you above your competition, people aren't going to choose to buy from you. They're just going to buy from your competition. Why? Because they've already been buying from your competition. You're new on a block. So why would they test out your product instead of getting a product that they already know? They won't. Again, how do we warm people up to ourselves? Know, like, trust. How can we know if what we're building is a sustainable business? Well, either because of the fact that the product already exists, and what you're doing is you're looking to improve upon what already exists. Again, the platform that you guys joined in on, the platform that you joined on, the Skool platform, there were already other communities that were created like this. Skool decided with Sam Ovens, when Alex Hormozi came in, and Andrew Kirby, when they came in and they decided to do what it is that they've now done with the Skool platform. Now they've upped the ante. Now they've created something even more special than what already existed. So now school is the platform that everybody's using for things that they were already doing in the past. They're now taking those things and bringing it over to school. I mean, you can see the same thing with social media. I mean, we have Instagram. So now you have Instagram, and then you have Isaac Hayes' son, who's saying, hey, I have this other app called Fanbase. I want to take people to take their information from off of Instagram, and we can repurpose that same information over to Fanbase, and you can monetize it. That's all business is healthy competition, which is why one of the things that I do enjoy about capitalism is that true capitalism is actually anti-monopoly. Most people improperly classify capitalism as monopoly. No, real and true capitalism says the best product wins, the best service wins, the best company wins. Why? Because you let them fight it out. You let them fight it out, and whoever wins the fight wins the fight. Will there be more fights on other days? As far as, you know what I'm saying, you have, if you will, this war that's taking place, and you have the many different battles that take place. So yeah, maybe you won one battle, and then they came back and won the next battle. So now you guys are battling that again, and now you guys are battling that again to see who ends up becoming victorious in the end. That's what this is all about. What this is all about is you creating something where you're battling against competition, which is why, again, whenever I talk to Christians about this, I'm like, there are so many viable opportunities to make money in the business world. You don't need to sell to Christians. Give it to Christians. Do it for free. Do it charitably towards Christians, because, again, that's how we're supposed to be living towards one another. There's not supposed to be sale and that type of thing between Christians. We're supposed to be giving these types of things to one another so that, again, the wealth that's stored up for the wicked, we can then get that wealth and then distribute it and do the right things with it. That's why I'm so passionate about this. I want Christians to become so wealthy to where we're able to now do things the biblical way versus the way that the church has gotten used to doing it now, because the church is like, oh man, our buildings are getting so big, so we got to like make sure that we're doing the same thing that the businesses are doing so we can keep these lights on, because it costs thousands of dollars every single month to keep these lights on. And so that means we got to make sure we're making tens of thousands of dollars to make sure we keep these lights on. And I don't want it to be that way, because it shouldn't be that way, because it wasn't that way back in the biblical times, or even in the times of the apostles. Like, and so with that being said, our goal, our motivation is to create and to grow sustainable businesses so that the businesses that we create are able to reproduce and create even more businesses and create even more entrepreneurs as far as inside of our the spaces that we operate in. And so for today, before we get into any questions that you guys may have for today, the piece that I want you guys to write down for your homework, because this is your homework for next week, as far as before we come back together next week to have done when we come in, because I'm going to have you guys actually share with me what it is that you did and what it is that you came up with. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be coming up with your ideal customer profile, your ideal avatar for your business. So the first step is, what business or what business ideas are you thinking of? You should be able to limit it to at least 3. And sometimes you can actually tie the 3 together. So there are creative ways to tie multiple businesses together into one business head, if you will. But have your business idea, business ideas, and then come up with your ideal customer profile. And when you're doing that, all your ideal customer profile is see a person, see somebody, make them a real person, even if it means that you got to use somebody in your family as an example, or somebody that you know as an example, or somebody that's close to you as an example. Use something as a direct target. So that means that this needs to be gender specific. So when I originally did this years ago, I did a male and I did a female. I came up, this is my ideal male avatar. This is my ideal female avatar. These are the people that whenever I create anything, I'm talking directly to them. I ain't talking to nobody else. Because this is the thing about creating an avatar and really being specific about targeting, is that when you target specific individuals and when you target specific people, there are other people that you are going to repel, and that is okay. That is okay. It's okay to repel people. Remember, I talked to you guys before, and what I was sharing with you guys is I was like, hey, when you have to put on that mask to make your content and you feel like you're being unnatural, you feel like you're faking it, it's because you are. It's because you're trying to reach everybody. You stop trying to reach everybody and just intentionally go after the people that you're after. And you have to know who you're after, or you don't get anybody. It's kind of like sand. If you try to grab it all, you end up with none. But we're saying we want two stones, two large stones. And for me, you can do, if you're a young lady, you can choose two women. If you're a young man, you can choose two men. It doesn't matter. I chose a young lady. I chose a young man. Ideal avatar. And when I went through it, and I was actually going through some of my old workbooks, when I initially did it, I came up with ages. I came up with the number of children. I came up with relationship status. I came up with what they actually do for a living. I came up with what they desire, like what it is that they want, like where do they see themselves in the future. So again, whatever your business is, the person that you're trying to reach, where do they see themselves? Where do they want to be? Because all of these things, once we it's levels to this. So once we take each piece and break each piece down, we're going to add another layer to it, another layer to it. Remember, what we're building a skyscraper. We're building a skyscraper. And because we're building a skyscraper, we got to start off with the foundation. This is the foundation. What is your business as far as kind of like, what is it that you want to start? And then who are you targeting for that particular business opportunity? Okay. So you have to be specific. And so I'm going to have you guys share some of these next week. So I'm going to have you guys share some of these next week so that we can redirect, because we may need to spend a complete session and a complete class talking through these as well, depending on how well you guys do with this assignment. But the assignment for next week is knowing what business it is that you want to start or that you want to do. And again, if there are multiple pieces to it, then we need to go ahead and tie those together or decide on kind of one over the other. And then you need to come up with your ideal avatar, your ideal customer profiles. Who are those people that you're targeting? You need to be specific if you're talking about a woman. You need to be specific if you're talking about a man. Who is he? What does he have? Does he have any kids? Is he married? Is he single? Is it like, what are the things for the people that you're trying to reach? How old are these individuals? All of these things matter, because once we get into actually creating your content and creating your creatives, and then those creatives end up becoming your content itself as far as for your ads and things like that. So once we start getting into that, it's going to be important that you have these things down to a T, so that when we create those things are very easy to create, because you already came up with who the person is. You're already talking to a specific person. Because the thing that's so beautiful about this as well, like I'll talk to you guys about how once you're this specific, it repels certain people. Also, when you're this specific, it talks directly to people, and they're like, hold on, like, why you just like in my living room though? Like why you just like walking through the screen talking directly at me? Like, it's because of the fact that you're talking directly to a person. You're talking directly to something when you're creating your content, when you're creating your ads, when you're creating all of your creative ad sets, all of those things. When you're creating them, you're talking to these customer profiles that you created and that you started from the very beginning. Because again, this is the foundation, which is why we're able to build this skyscraper as high as we wanted to go. We can take this skyscraper and take it as high as we wanted to go. And the reason why we can take this skyscraper as high as we wanted to go is because we have the right and the proper foundation at the bottom. We have the right and the proper foundation at the bottom, which is why we continue to build the way that we build. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to do. So I want you guys, business idea or ideas. And again, we're going to tie those down, because when we come next week, I want everybody to be locked in on your business idea or ideas. And I want you guys to be locked in on who are you talking to. So once you start creating your creatives and you start creating your content to put your content out there so that your voice can be out there, who are you talking to? You have to talk directly to somebody, because you're actually going to end up drawing other people as well. So they're going to be some people like, man, this dude talking directly at me, this dude talking straight to me. And they're going to other people like, oh man, that really resonates with me too, because you're so specifically talking to that one person that you end up hitting about 10 people. And so that one person is going to feel like, oh man, I have to like lock in with this person because they talking directly to me and they talking directly at me. And then the other people will be like, oh man, I really resonate with them. Man, follow, or man, like. And then it builds over time. It's all about momentum building. Again, when you're building a business, it builds over time. And like I told you guys, there are viral methods, and I know about these viral methods, but what I'm telling you guys is don't buy into the viral methods, because in the same way that the virality came, the virality leaves as well. So it came quick, it leaves quick. So sometimes what people do is, because they know that, they'll come with the virality, they'll capitalize and make a whole lot of money in a very quick amount of time, because they know that it's over. And then now they stop, and then now that business is over. Now they go and do another business, do the same thing. And if that's what you want to do, you can definitely go and do that. What I'm talking about here is building something that's sustainable, that eventually gets you to the place of passive income. Because again, the whole goal of what I teach is for you to get your time back. Because I want us to really be able to live out what it is that the scripture calls for us to live out, from a healthy and from a whole place. And the only way that we can do that is we have our time. If you don't have your time, then you can't do that. So that's kind of, if you will, the lesson for today. Do you guys have any questions at all from today, or questions about your assignment at all?
Yeah, I got this really dope. It's funny because this is something like trying to figure out customer client avatars for like the last 2 months, like how to go about it. And I just been stuck. I got one homeboy that he's built 2 businesses very successfully. Multiple book sales, multiple t-shirt sales for the other one. And I remember like 10 years ago when he was going deep dive on like all of digital marketing type stuff. So I've been like trying to pick his brain and ask him questions about it. And he did lead me through one exercise of building a customer avatar for my photography business. And so I did the exercise and gave it to him so he can kind of pick through it. And he did give me some results, but I'm gonna say that for next week, like the homework assignment that you just prescribed. But you did add one layer on that that I wasn't aware of, and that was where they want to be. So I never thought about that before. I ended up hitting everything, the other ones that you just said, but I didn't think about where they want to be. So I'm actually going to go back and literally ask the people that I'm basing my avatar where they want. I'm going to ask them straight up where they want to be.
Yeah, and it's even levels to that. So where they want to be, and why do they not want to be where they are? They're reaching out to you for something. So even if it's for photography, maybe it's photography for business purposes. Maybe they want to improve their LinkedIn profile, or maybe it's a dating profile, or maybe whatever. Maybe it's a wedding photography, whatever the case may be. There's something that's going on right now that they're dissatisfied with, that they want to change. You got to talk to that too. So you're talking and you're addressing their pains, like those things that they're experiencing right now that are uncomfortable for them, that they need your services to help them to get to where it is that they want to go. So we're not just talking about where it is. And watch this, it's levels. When I say it's levels to this, it's levels to this. So you got the where they are and how they feel stuck without your help and without your services, where it is that they want to be. But we have this, if you will, this bridge right here. We got to get them to trust you enough to take your hand so that you can lead them over this bridge to your services. The only way that we can do that is to show them that this is so bad, and that what they would do if they didn't have your services. And that's why, again, I talk about the levels, if you will, of service, the service that you provide. The service that you provide should be above competition. So competition shouldn't be, there should be no such thing as competition. Whenever I start a business, there is no such thing as competition. I'll start it because of like something else that I saw, because of being desiring to become competition for someone else. But once I start mine, it ain't no competition no more, because I'm taking all of the things that they were weak at and they didn't do right, or they didn't take advantage of. I'm going to capitalize on those things. Now, when this person is standing at this bridge saying, man, I really want to be over there. I really want to go to the other side, but I can't get it. Oh, yeah, you want to go to the side? I've been to the other side already. You want me to just walk you over there? Yeah. Oh, well, you sure you can? Yeah, I can get you over to the other side. Boom. Now you're walking across. You're taking my hand to go across the other side. Now we're on the other side. You're like, whoa! Like, how did you do that? It seems like magic to them. Like what? Like how did I just met you. Like, why was I so willing to take your hand to get to the other side? Why? Because I've already been on the other side, so I can tell you what's on the other side. And as we're walking, and as a person is able to see some of the aspects of the other side, they're able to be able to say, like, oh man, like you said that it was gonna be out, and I was like, oh, and I'm looking at it. That is on the other side. Oh, you told me that was gonna be over there too. Oh, that is over there on the side. Like, and so they're gaining more and more trust for you. The more that you're able to help them to make it to the other side. As you continue on your journey towards the other side, they continue to grow to trust you more and more because you're proving yourself to know what you're talking about and to know what you're doing. Which is why I tell you guys to make sure that these things are a hobby for you, because as long as these things are a hobby for you, you don't get bored of learning it. So if you're just photography, videography, you're learning about apertures and you're learning about the clicks per second. And when you learn, for me, I'm like, yeah, man, I got homeboys that do that. So I'm like, oh yeah, man, y'all do y'all thing. I trust y'all. Nothing with the video, and I trust y'all with all that. I don't want to learn how to do it because it's too much. That's what you want. That's what you really want. You want people to trust you so much because you're so knowledgeable about your hobby, to where your hobby then becomes your profession because of the fact that you're able to charge and increase your prices because of the fact that you're so good at what you do, and you provide a level of service that is far above your competition. So I hope this is making sense for everybody. I hope all of you guys are getting value out of what we're talking about here, because again, this is for all of you guys. No matter what it is that you do, you need to be levels above your competition so that it is a no-brainer for people to choose you over anybody else that they could choose. So they could choose somebody else, but you're making it so that they would never choose anybody else because you're giving them such an experience. And that's easier and easier the less clientele that you have. You're able to give them that experience. Now, once you start building up your clientele, now you have to build out a team to be able to up your experience as far as for your client, for your avatar, while not losing your time, because the whole reason why we're creating this is in order to get our time. So now that's when we kind of get into building out your systems, setting up all your SOPs, all those types of things. Like that's when we get to that point, as far as that's called scaling. But we're not at scaling yet. We're right here at starting a business that makes money. With what we're talking about today, we're talking about starting a business that makes money. And all of you guys, no matter what ideas you guys have, I can show you guys how
Look at that, Johnny.
from a business with whatever ideas it is that you guys have about businesses that you guys desire to start or that you desire to grow, that maybe you have already started, but you just haven't seen success with it yet. Maybe you have one client or maybe two clients, and we can show you how to improve the number of clientele that you have through so many different means and so many different methodologies as far as for getting new leads. It's so many ways to get new leads that is incredible. So does anybody does that answer your question first?
It does, and I got another one, but I want to give the other folks here an opportunity to ask that question too, if anybody had anything.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions at all? Anybody else have any questions at all? Because each week when we do it, we're gonna end with questions, so kind of with the Q&A, and then before we close. So anybody else?
Matt, my question is around, I think sometimes it's really easy to get caught up in the love of the thing. So when you're talking about enjoyment, I fully agree with you, but I think we can also get caught up in the passion for what we're doing and not realize that, okay, that passion is not actually going to earn anything. That's not a business. Like your passion is not a business. That's not revenue generating. So can you share what your thoughts would be on how do you, I guess, make sure that you're being really realistic and not just following the passion, which is fine. Some people follow their passion and they're able to make millions, but a lot of people follow their passion and they're not making anything. So how do you distinguish between the things that you're passionate about and then translating that really into a business and being really like intentional about those decisions that you're making so that you do have a viable business?
Oh, perfect.
You know what I mean?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah, I do. I definitely understand. So first, so say for example, like if you have an idea for a business, but it doesn't exist, that could either be a good thing because you just stumbled upon some $1 billion business idea, or that's a bad idea because it's not a business and nobody else is doing it. So when we're thinking about business ideas and what it is that we want to do, one of the easiest things that'll be your friend is what's called Google Trends. So Google Trends. And so all you just do is go to Google Trends. And so you can literally go to google.com and then just type in trends. But Google Trends is going to be your friend. And all you're going to do is you're going to look for whatever this thing is that you're saying that you want to do or that you see as a viable business. You just want to make sure that it's above 50 on the search. So Google has from 0 to 100. And 100 is this thing is searched for all like it's like max peak as far as being searched for. 50 is like middle of the pack. You just wanted to be middle of the as above middle of the pack as pertains to being searched for. So as long as people are searching for that thing that you're talking about, so say for example, if custom garments, so we can do that one, T. So custom garments. So custom garments, there's a great desire for custom garments, and there is a high premium paid for custom garments. So now with that, that's something where, again, if people know, like, and trust you, they will spread the word for you, especially after they get their custom garment back for whatever the special occasion is, or whatever the thing is that's happening, or whatever the thing is that's going on. They'd be willing to do that because of the fact that, and remember, so one of the things that I said earlier, as far as the boxes, so that's going to be a really big thing as far as having those boxes so that the customer can have a full experience where the outside of the box is decorated. And I'm not talking about like a FedEx box that is decorated. I'm talking about like a full-blown box that has been created with your brand, that has your branding on it, that has words on it that you've designed, phrases, the type, the font that you've selected as far as for the entire box. They open the box. When they open the box, the lid itself, it has all of this writing and everything on there, phrases, if you will, that go along with your brand, that keep your brand's theme, the colors of the box, everything represents your brand. When they look inside of the box has perfect placement for whatever it is that's inside. When it comes to that, that's an experience. So whenever we're talking about what it is that we're doing, if you have something that's product-based or something that's service-based, you always want the customer to have an experience, a full-blown experience. So even for me, when I do, as far as for information-based or something that's service-based, I still, because of the fact that the premium that people pay me, I'm always mindful of giving people something as far as for that premium. So somebody spends $250 to get 45 minutes of my time, like for that, I'm going to send them a box. Why? Because of the fact that I'm different than other consultants. I'm grateful for their time, and I want them to tell other people about me and the work that we've done together. And so I send them this box, and they're like, what? A consultant doesn't send boxes? What? That's kind of like a real estate agent. Like if a real estate agent said, I'm going to buy you a car for every house that you buy from me. It's like, you'd be like, what? Like, you're going to buy me a car when I buy a house from you? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. It's the same thing. I'm always for that shock factor. I'm always for that wow factor. So if somebody pays me $250 for 45 minutes of my time, I'm going to send them a box. And so now that experience, so now they're getting something physically, although they received digitally and virtually from me. So they didn't receive, they weren't supposed to receive anything physically from me, but now that they got something physical from me that reminds them of me, they're like, whoa, I'm never going anywhere for my consulting, like anywhere else for my consulting. And that's how you become what's called sticky. So in the same way that software is very sticky, like once you get used to operating system, you're stuck with it, which is why we have the whole Apple versus Android. And then before we had that, we had the BlackBerry, the BlackBerry Messenger versus Apple, and then Apple ended up winning that one out. The reason why we had that is because it's sticky. Like once you're used to using a certain type of, like, I was a BlackBerry Messenger guy back in college, so like that's what it was for us. And if you didn't have BlackBerry Messenger, then it was like, oh, that you lame, like because you didn't have BlackBerry Messenger because of the fact that they had special messages and special ways that you would be able to send messages or whatever. And that was like a big thing on campus. And then that's when the iPhone became popular. And so once the iPhone became popular, their thing to make them become popular was we have blue messages. So if your messages aren't blue, then you're lame. And so that's when the transition changed while I was in college from BBM to blue messages. And so it's sticky. So to answer your question, T, what makes something viable? It's again just search. So search if other people are searching for it. If people are searching for it, then it's viable. If people are not searching for it, meaning that it's below 50, then you don't want to do that. That wouldn't be a viable option for something that you'll want to do or to create as a business. And when I say that there are people all over the world and they want services. They want our service. They want services from people that they can trust, people who are of character, people of integrity. Like that's what people want. And so the reason why I'm so passionate about equipping Christians to do this type of stuff as far as business wise is because I know that we're able to get a monopoly on it. Because if we truly live out our Christian principles in business, man, listen, we'll wipe the floor with everybody. If we really lived out gospel principles when we do the work that we do, we'll wipe the floor with everybody. So that's why I get real passionate about this, because I'm a real competitive guy. And then so that's kind of like what it is for me. Yeah. So boom. Yeah, I'm glad that answered it for you, T. Did anybody else have any questions at all? I'm gonna give you guys a chance.
I know when you're at 10:30.
Oh, boom.
10:40.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can, if you guys do have any other questions that you guys want to ask, put them inside of the school. So that's how we're going to utilize that as well. And so we can actually have those be answered like throughout the week and everything as well. So yeah, just please feel free to leave all of your questions or whatever it is that you may have over in school, and I'll answer them there, but I'll do it by way of I'll create a video message and answer it. So it's in essence the same thing as it is right now. So I'll create a video message to answer it, because I'm sure if the question exists, that somebody else probably has that same question as well. So yeah, so that is our time for today. I hope that this time has been beneficial for you guys, and I hope that this gives you guys something to chew on throughout the week. Again, if you guys have questions throughout the week when you're trying to complete this assignment, please write your questions over in the school platform in that general discussions tab. I'll take this video, I'll upload this video to the actual classroom there, so that we can have that begin kind of having that be built out, so that we can have all of that there. But again, if you guys have any questions, always feel free to hit me up. If it's a really good question, like say if you send me a message and it's a really good question, I'll take that the answer that I'm giving to you, and I'll put it inside of the general discussion so that everybody can see it. Because again, like I said, I want y'all to really be successful, and I know like the blueprint, I know how to do it, and so I just want to share it with other people so I can help other people get results from this methodology, so that we can just continue to build and again be able to freely give to the body of Christ. So again, the people as people begin to see what's taking place, people will feel less obligated to require things from people as it pertains to the church, because I do understand that things have been going on the way they've been going on for so long. So I get it, but I really want to help to make some change by equipping Christians to have more than enough so that we can give. So that is one of my motivations, one of my great motivations. And so again, yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys next week. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to leave them over on the school platform. And I will see you guys next week. You guys take care, and I'll upload this video as soon as it finishes uploading from Zoom. I'll upload it over there and have it be saved over there inside the classroom.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
I hope this was valuable for everyone.
Very.
Definitely appreciate it.
Perfect. All right, you guys take care.
Okay,
All right.
bye.
Bye-bye.
you.